Maybe you've experienced a small moment that stayed with you longer than expected. A sparrow is hopping around your backyard feeder. You step outside, just as you do every morning. The bird lifts its head and looks in your direction. But this time, something different happens. It doesn't fly away. The moment lasts only a few seconds. Yet inside that tiny bird's brain, an important transformation is taking place. Most people assume birds simply get used to humans over time. But the truth is far more complex. For a wild animal, choosing to stay instead of fleeing is a decision with enormous survival consequences. One mistake could turn the bird into a meal for a cat, a hawk, or another predator hiding nearby. So what happens inside a bird's mind on the day it decides that you are no longer a threat? It isn't recklessness. It isn't curiosity. And it certainly isn't luck. It is the result of hundreds of observations, memories, and risk assessments that its nervous system has been quietly performing for days, weeks, or even months. Today, we're going deep inside the remarkable brain of a backyard bird to uncover the exact moment when fear begins to give way to trust. If you enjoy discovering the hidden lives of the animals around you, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. In your quiet backyard, a small bird may look like it is simply relaxing. It tilts its head, pecks at a few seeds, hops lightly along a branch, then pauses to look around. But what most people never realize is that inside that tiny body, the survival system is never truly switched off. For a wild bird, the world is not a peaceful place. A shadow sliding across the ground could be a hawk. A soft rustle under a shrub could be a cat. A person walking closer could mean danger, even if that person is only holding a morning cup of coffee. A bird's brain is built to detect threats much faster than we imagine. Before the bird has fully thought about what is happening, its body is already preparing to escape. The heart beats faster, the muscles tighten, the eyes scan the space. And with just one more unusual signal, the bird can vanish from the fence in a flash. Most people think birds fly away because they are simply afraid of people. But the truth is more subtle than that. They are not just afraid of you, they are calculating. Every step you take, how fast you move, where your eyes are looking, and how close you are to the feeder all become information. Inside a bird's brain, certain areas act like an alarm center for danger. When a large shape appears, especially a human shape, that alarm system immediately sends out a warning. At the same time, stress hormones rise, shifting the whole body into escape mode. And this is what makes trust so remarkable. A bird does not need to understand your good intentions the way a human would. It only needs to learn one thing. This person has appeared many times and has not caused harm. If yesterday you walked slowly, if the day before that, you did not stare directly at it, if morning after morning you simply filled the feeder and walked away, each small action becomes a piece of evidence. At first, the danger signal almost always wins. If you come just a little too close, the bird flies. Not because it dislikes you, but because in the wild, survival does not allow many chances for mistakes. Then, over time, something quiet begins to change. The same human shape, the same sound of the door opening, the same footsteps across the yard. But this time, the alarm response is not as strong as before. The bird is still cautious. It still watches you, but it does not fly. And that is the first sign that its brain has begun to rewrite the meaning of you. But how does a bird know that you, specifically, are safe? This is where the story becomes far more remarkable than most people imagine. For many years, scientists assumed that bird brains were too small to handle complex recognition tasks. Today, we know the opposite is true. Many bird species possess extraordinary memory abilities, especially when survival depends on knowing who is friend and who is threat. Imagine a sparrow that visits your backyard every day. Each morning, it watches you step through the back door. It observes the way you walk. It remembers how quickly you move. It notices your body shape, the clothes you usually wear, and even the familiar sounds you make. What most people never realize is that birds do not simply remember places. They remember people. Inside the bird's brain are cognitive systems that connect visual information with outcomes. If every encounter with you ends safely, that association grows stronger over time. On the other hand, if another person appears and chases the bird, or frightens it, the brain creates a very different record. That is why a bird may remain calm when you approach, yet instantly fly away when a stranger enters the yard. To the bird, those are not the same person. Even small changes can matter. A new, wide-brimmed hat, a long, unfamiliar coat, a large umbrella that hides your usual silhouette. For the first few moments, the bird's brain may not be completely sure whether this is the same individual it remembers. And whenever uncertainty appears, the alarm system begins to wake up again. This is why many people are surprised when familiar backyard birds suddenly seem cautious after they dramatically change their appearance. But if positive experiences continue, the bird's brain updates its profile of you. New information is added to old memories. Gradually, the new appearance also becomes associated with safety. Over time, what develops is more than simple familiarity. A genuine form of individual recognition is taking shape. The bird does not merely know that this yard is safe. It does not merely know that this feeder contains food. It knows who the person standing beside the feeder is. And that ability to recognize individuals becomes the foundation of trust itself. Because before a bird can trust you, it must first understand that you are different from everyone else around it. A bird's trust does not appear like a switch turning on overnight. It is more like an invisible scale inside the brain, where two opposing forces are constantly pulling against each other. On one side is the ancient alarm system. It says, "Fly away, that large body could be dangerous." On the other side is memory, built slowly through repeated experience. It says, "Wait, this person has appeared many times before. Nothing bad happened." In the moment when the bird looks at you and does not fly, those two signals are colliding. This is not simple friendliness. It is a process of inhibition. In other words, the brain does not erase fear. It learns to hold fear back when the evidence of safety becomes strong enough. That explains why a bird may trust you in one situation, but still fly away in another. If you stand quietly near the back door, it may remain where it is. But if you walk too quickly, bend down suddenly, or raise your hand too high, the alarm system may instantly take control again. A bird's trust is precise, but it is also fragile. In the wild, this makes perfect sense. A bird that is too fearful may miss chances to eat, rest, or care for its young. But a bird that is too bold may not survive long enough to learn anything at all. So its brain must find a balance. Cautious enough to stay alive, but flexible enough to recognize when something is no longer dangerous. And you, in a very quiet way, become part of that calculation. Every calm morning you appear, every time you do not chase it, every time you walk past without causing harm, those moments do not disappear. They build up like thin layers of memory. Then one day, when you step into the yard, the alarm system still speaks. But this time, memory answers faster. It's okay. This is the familiar one. The bird still watches you with small, bright, sharp eyes. It still keeps a safe distance. But instead of taking flight, it simply hops to the side, fluffs its feathers, and goes back to pecking at the seeds. To us, that may look like an ordinary moment. But to the bird, it is a tiny neurological victory. The brain has chosen not to panic. The body has chosen not to flee. And in the wild world, where every second can decide survival, that moment is the silent language of trust. In that familiar backyard of yours, moments that seem ordinary can sometimes mean far more than they appear. A bird does not know your name. It does not understand your language. It does not know who you are in the way humans know one another. But its small brain has learned something incredibly important. You are safe. That conclusion was not reached in a single day. It was built through dozens, perhaps hundreds, of tiny interactions that you may not even remember. Every time you moved slowly, every time you respected its space, every time you appeared without bringing danger, each of those experiences quietly reshaped the neural connections inside the bird's brain. So the next time a bird remains on the fence as you step into the yard, remember that you are witnessing something remarkable. You are not simply looking at a wild animal. You are looking at the result of trust. A trust built through time, patience, and consistency. If you enjoyed this story, please give the video a like, and I would love to hear about your own experience. When was the first moment a bird stopped being afraid of you? Share your story in the comments below. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And until next time, keep looking closely. The most fascinating secrets of the bird world may be unfolding right outside your door.